the Marvel's music. Marvel's films. I mean, it's mostly CG, right? And the characters themselves are not actually really in that moment. They're just behind a green scene. What was it called?
Green screen.
Yeah. And then acting with nothing,
Yep.
in the background, right? I mean, so there is kind of a merge, and it seems like it's going to be more and more of that.
It is, and here's the good news for actors, and here's the thing is, as long as we continue to use human actors, even if we go down the route of everything is fully green screen, what that will mean for an actor is that even more they're going to have to develop a high sensory awareness, which will then allow you to have a more vivid imagination. Because if I'm acting opposite a freaking tennis ball and a stick, I better have a damn good imagination to believe like that's my lover from whatever, some deserted island. And otherwise people are going to be able to smell that something's not right about this. So to me, I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing that we're going down. I want to make it very clear. It's not a bad thing that we're going down the route of more CG stuff. I think there is a value for that, because then we're able to explore worlds and universes and stories that were previously limited by what studios had available to them.
Right.
But we need to encourage, or at least I need to find a way to encourage actors that, because there's more technology, we have to find a way to make ourselves invaluable in the face of technology being our greatest competitor and also our greatest asset.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, even the quality of acting has to go up as well, right?
100%.
Right? Because you're not actually talking to a real person, or there's nothing in the background, right?
Correct. Because in a way, like if let's say you were right now a tennis ball and a stick, right? I'm not actually talking to Taka, I'm talking to the tennis ball and a stick. In a way, I literally have to have my soul, almost like my Wi-Fi signal of soul, be powerful enough to power not only me and my message, but in a way be able to will myself into believing that you are real. And it's almost like I'm acting for two people as opposed to just the one. And so the challenge for the actor is even more immense, to have to be able to act for two people rather than just the one. And I think that's I genuinely hope that that's a challenge that actors take full on, rather than shy away from, well, I guess that's technology. I'll just quit now and go be a whatever, fucking banker, accountant, something or other.
Right. I mean, it definitely opens up more various characters. Right. You have to be so many different things now to fit the technology that's provided for you. Right.
Yes. I mean, did you see the Jungle Book movie that came out maybe 2 years ago, thereabouts? That kid literally plucked off the streets, never done a film in his life.
Right.
And if you've seen the behind the scenes, it's just this untrained kid who is working in a giant green screen studio and is told, all right, that's not actually a glass, that's just a cube we've wrapped in green screen. That's going to be whatever, Shere Khan or Baloo the bear. And if not for that kid's ability to have this highly vivid imagination, highly sensitive instrument, that would quite really look like if I can block wrapped in green paper, as opposed to whatever, Baloo the bear or Shere Khan the tiger or whatever it is. That's amazing to think that that's possible.
But when you practice acting at home, right, you're not always at the studio and it's like one go and then you do it, right? I mean, you practice at home, right, a lot, and so then there's nobody there, right? Or it could be a friend and doing the other person for you, but like basically you're there, no set, nothing, right? So you're like immersed in your emotions, and you're always thinking about how I'm gonna do this in the studio, right? So is it kind of similar to that? Like you have to like really imagine yourself being in a situation. I mean, that's what actors do.
Yes. Okay, so the most widely accepted short definition of what acting is behaving truthfully under imaginary circumstances. And people always associate acting to lying or acting to pretending or there's nothing true about acting, and that could not be further from the truth. It is first and foremost about telling the truth and being truthful. And the imaginary circumstances are what people then associate with why this is lying or pretending. Even if it is imaginary circumstances, like I'm in the jungle or I'm at home rehearsing for the Jungle Book or whatever it is, I still need to be as truthful as I possibly can. Now, say for example, we are not in the studio. We are in the middle of the Amazon. How might you behave if you were in the middle of the Amazon right now, Taka?
How would I behave?
Yeah.
Well, I'll be very mindful about my surroundings, right? I mean, there's going to be like insects coming at me, animals.
Okay.
It could be dangerous animals.
Okay.
It could be like a dangerous reptile trying to bite my leg.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I'll be a little bit edgy.
You'd be a little bit edgy. You might be a little bit more mindful of where you're walking. If we talk about the weather, what sort of weather would we be having right now in the Amazon?
Right. Well, it would be wet.
Wet and hot and just humid, right? So already that begins to affect how you move because everything just feels muggy and heavy.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that you're constantly looking around for different threats. So then already without even doing very much, you've already sort of transported yourself to the Amazon simply by going, I've never maybe been there, but I can imagine what it feels like a little bit.
Yeah.
How can I behave truthfully even though I'm not in that circumstance? So if I've never been there, can I watch documentaries? Can I watch films? Can I talk to people who've been there? Can I relate this to an experience that I have had? Maybe I've been somewhere hot and muggy where I've had to sort of be mindful of where I step into, where I can take those experiences or I can take the experiences of others, I meld it together, and I become the conduit. I become that vessel for whatever story that I need to tell.
Right.
But it always, always, always is underpinned by truth and truthful behavior.
Right.
And that is to me the most beautiful part about acting is that you cannot get away with bullshit. Absolutely, there's zero room for bullshit.
Right. Because people can sense that shit, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. A mile away, they can smell that.
You see a shitty theater, maybe you know it's shitty, right? Like instantly.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be an expert, right?
Absolutely. In fact, I would go so far as to say that acting is the only art form where nobody wants to see your technique.
Right.
And acting is the only art form where when they do see your technique, they go, well, that's a terrible actor. Where if you think about it, right? The American Idol, whatever singer who does the high C, beautiful aria, you go, oh, wow, that's so amazing. I could never do that. The triple axel somersault, Swan Lake, whatever. So beautiful. I could never do that. But when you watch an actor, if they are really, truly being truthful under imaginary circumstances, you watching it go, wait, that's it? I could do that.
Right.
Oh, yeah, asshole? Go and try yourself if you really think you're the next Christian Bale.
Right.
And it's really, really, really difficult to be able to be truthful in like a green screen, or even if you have a full-on built set. Your logical mind tells you you are not actually in the Amazon. You are in Fox Studios in Sydney, Australia, and these are all just props.
Yeah.
How do you still behave truthfully in those circumstances? It takes a huge amount of willpower to will yourself to believe that you are someone else and something else and somewhere else.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it's not just you having to believe it. You literally have to will everyone else watching that you have to believe it. My God, that is incredible. Like almost alchemy that happens on behalf of the actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now people demand that, right? I mean, if it's not that, you don't want it anymore.
Right.
Whereas like in the past, if you watch any movies from the 40s or 30s, I mean, it wasn't like that, right?
Not at all.
It seemed like it was,
it's all very
acted.
vaudevillian, very larger than life, very drawing room comedy. It is, alas and alack, I am feeling feverish and all that shit, right? Which, yes, for the time, it had its place, it had its value. But as we begin to be more discerning of, I want my story to be told on screen, I want my life to be reflected on screen, people then go, I don't fucking behave like that. I don't want, I've got the hot flashes. People don't want that. They want someone who can reflect them. And like we were talking earlier on about how acting has evolved vastly in the last 50, 60, 70 years. You have this larger than life work that's now evolved into and I think we were mentioning Marlon Brando early on about how he's the first person or one of the first big people to then take this larger than life acting, this theatrical style of acting, and go, no, let's bring it down. Let's really bring it down to the most intimate, intense way possible externally. But on top of that, internally, let's have our internal mechanisms firing up. Let's have all of this internal strife and struggle and inner life that's happening. So even on the surface, if I'm going, I'm fine, everything's fine, you feel all of this stuff underneath the surface.
Yeah.
And you go, fuck, That's me, where out there, I'm desperately trying to tell my boss, yeah, I'm fine, everything's okay. And underneath, you have no idea that I'm suffering from cancer, that I'm dealing with bills, that I'm all of these things and all of this stuff. Because out there, acting is the greatest social lubricant.
Right. Yeah.
And so on screen, to have someone reflect my experience of I'm acting simply so I can get through fucking life.
Yeah.
Brando was the first person to really, really kind of corner that market.
Right.
And then people sort of, there's almost like a pre-Brando, post-Brando era in acting.
Yeah.
And then eventually people began to associate Brando with the mumblecore actor, which is so obsessed with the inner life that you began to forget almost the outer life, where is the style of acting that became sort of part of the course for a while. People went, okay, there's a lot of stuff happening on the inside. I don't know what the hell you're saying. Where the previous vaudevillian actor, which is, I am feeling this way, right? This is way over the top, but at least I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So then we are now getting to a place where, interestingly enough, the American style of acting, which is the psychological realism, was really, really popular from the 50s all the way until, I'd say, even the 90s or early 2000s, where we're now seeing Hollywood start to favor the British trained actor. Where the British trained actor has been very clever in trying to figure out how can we borrow the best aspects of the American style of psychological realism and marry that with the Shakespearean sort of acting, where our elocution is on point, our enunciation is on point, where our external manipulation of character is on point, where people don't realize Christian Bale is actually Welsh, Anthony Hopkins is Welsh, Daniel Day-Lewis is not American.
Right.
And people don't realize that because they sound and they look so American. You just assume, oh, they're clearly American actors, and they're not. They're all British trained actors. And that's where we're going.
Right.
Where these guys have managed to marry a beautiful, rich outer life with a beautiful, rich inner life. That's where we are now.
Wow.
Future Design Podcast.